Good morning. Let me say it again. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is first person tutor speaking, the voice of Bossman teaching. Making abundant, tangible habits with plenty of intentional notes to self for ELO. Now, interesting game, right? Let's just see how quickly we can get through this. French defense. Yeah, this setup here from white, this is exactly how I used to play at every turn when I just started playing chess. So that formation with the two knights with two pawns there, yeah, that was my favorite formation when I just started learning. And I had the knights defending each other. Yeah, no threats as of yet. Preparing my queenside castle. Yeah, I guess he saw it. Then I castle. Mm-hmm. And you see, I got my rook out the way because obviously his queen was looking at the h8, right? So I got the rook out the way and then I pointed it towards the g5. I was daring him to put tempo on the queen. Hold on. Let me say it again. I just put tempo on the queen just now, so he took a step back. Tempo on the bishop now. I decided to take. Doubles up the pawn. Tempo on the knight. Right. I think my sorry. Right. So my idea was that I wanted to double up my attack on d4. I wanted to double up the attack. I wanted to actually overload the square so I could, put the king in check with the bishop, right? So that was the idea behind this. Removing one of my attackers. So no, that's not even possible again. All right. Yeah. I liked what was happening here, right? Because by doing this, I force you to ask yourself a number of questions. Is it worth it to keep the rook right there? Probably not. Yeah, right. There are three pawns, right? Everywhere you go, you can't stay there, and if you move, you're gonna get captured for free. So it's not worth it, right? So me capturing that pawn was a question mark. It's like, well, do you really want to stay right there? The answer is no. And of course, he defends the knight. So I pull over the piece. Now, I had an idea as to what was going on here. I decided I don't want to play these kind of games. Although, for it to be really effective and lethal, maybe you double up the rooks, but he went for this pawn move right here. He wanted to defend d5 because, again, it was an overloading situation one more time. Now I go to control file. I mean, at this point, it would have been nice had I captured his rook just so that I could, get rid of a defender of the back rank. Even though he would have replaced it with his queen, um, I would have to make two moves in order to put tempo on his queen. You know, yeah, I mean, it was just kind of messy, right? So I didn't want to risk that. I tried to go after this pawn, which was a mistake. What I should have done here was just go for the idea immediately. So I really should have just taken my rook and dropped it on e4. And then now slide the other rook behind it so that would have been the perfect, double up. All right, let's see where we're going from here. All right. Yeah, this was bad news for me. This was bad news, right? No, this is a little bit of hope chess. Please take the knight. That's what he's saying to me. But I wasn't having it. I was not having it. And I'm grateful for my bishop on g7 because he would have loved to go to d4 to add some pressure to the knight, and yeah, by adding pressure to the knight it would have created another discovery, right? And of course my rook would not be able to come in and create any kind of assistance, right? So I bit the bullet when it came to this one. This is the reason why I should have done this move earlier. I should have done that long time, right? So I accepted this loss. You thought I was going to capture this? No. I used your own pawn as a shield, right? So there are times when you can actually do this. Like if you see that the only thing you need to worry about is if he's able to get the rook on the other side of that pawn or the queen on the other side of that pawn. But as you can see, I'm pretty guarded. All right. We exchange rooks. No, this is where things got interesting. This was the end of the game, right? This was the end of the game. One of the reasons why he didn't want to deal with this is because every one of the moves. Okay, so he did not want to deal with the capture that I was going to do on h3. He didn't want to deal with that, right? Did not want to deal with it at all. And because I'm not excited about capturing the pawn, or I mean, if on the next move I decide to capture that pawn, I would pin my pawn to my king, not my bishop rather, sorry. Yeah, right. So yeah, yeah, if on the next move I decided to capture that pawn, yeah, it wouldn't really serve me very well, right? You could use a rook and pin it to the king, and then on the next move you could probably harass it by putting something to the side of it there to add pressure to the pin. Although lucky for us, if c4 tries to antagonize by going to c5, we could always use our d6 pawn to defend, right? So yeah, this was an interesting game for me because yes, I gave up the rook, right? Obviously involuntarily. I I guess that's what I get for playing a little bit slow, right? But, you know, I figured I could make this. You see, sometimes you win by creating a strong enough defense that will discourage your opponent, because they'll work very hard for a checkmate, and when they don't see it coming, they start to lose composure. They start making moves that are not optimal, right? And at this point, he just figured, I don't have any moves left, right? I don't have any moves left, so he allowed the timer to run out, and then he just didn't continue. So again, you know, yes, so as I would normally say, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This was First Person Tutor speaking, the voice of Boss Man Teaching, and we just made abundant tangible habits with plenty of intentional notes to self for ELO. That's what we just did. So from top,